Welcome to Caseback Watches. My name is Tim, and in this episode I have the pleasure to address three topics. First topic is Cormac. I will explain you who Cormac is. Second is Art Deco, the design, let's say the style of Art Deco. Third topic are Vario watches. Vario watches here on the wrist. You find a Vario watch. I have two of them in the studio. Small company from Singapore, and they want to produce, or they produce actually, watches inspired by Art Deco, and that's the reason why I want to address the style Art Deco itself in this video. Let's begin with Cormac. Who is Cormac? Cormac is a photographer, or former photographer from France, lives in France, and he was really good in the business. He took images of celebrities, high-tier politicians and those people, and then he suffered a stroke. A real severe stroke, and then he was in hospital and he was thrown back to zero. And when he woke up in the hospital, he realized here's something completely wrong. And then he saw that his right foot made an interesting contour through the bed sheet, and then he took an image. He really manages. I mean, the guy was closer to death than to life, but he managed to take an image of his own foot, and I thought, wow, that shows some balls. I think I still have this image. I don't know if I'm allowed to share it with you here in this video. I don't know. And then, he was 2-0, and then he found his love to wristwatches, mechanical wristwatches, and he started to buy relatively affordable watches, disassembled them, and he changed the dials. He wanted to create his own dials. And watches, of course, are the reason for our contact, because he contacted me. He wanted to grab a watch in Germany and he couldn't because he was in France. And then he asked me to buy the watch for him. He paid, of course, and I did it. And as thank you, he sent me my Vostok from the 80s, so really Cold War watch, which I really like, and I wear it still occasionally. And so this was our first contact, and if you want to see Cormac's dials, his work, then check out his Instagram page. It's called The Radio Room. And I follow him a while now, and he really makes his steps into watchmaking because this is a craft he still can do. I mean, he's under severe restrictions. I mean, stroke, this is one of the baddest things which can happen to a human being, but he still can work with little dials. And now he realizes that he has to do something for his living. I mean, he needs an occupation. He cannot work anymore as a photographer, although he can take single images. But if you are in a stressful environment, impossible for Cormac, unfortunately. But luckily, he's a French citizen, and the French state has some sort of program to bring people back into the work world with a proper job training. And guess what? One job training available is watchmaker. And Cormac went through several assessments, and we were in contact, and he wrote me some details about the life there. But Cormac is still a little bit in doubt that he can make it because it's tough, especially if you're under restrictions, if you're still recovering. Very tough thing. And so I really would appreciate if you visit the Radio Room on Instagram, write him a nice comment or thumb up to encourage the guy that he can continue, because I think he should continue with this wonderful work there. And Cormac contacted me again several, I think 2 weeks ago, and he bought Vario watches. I mean, he's really into Russian watches, but also into other more affordable, classy, dressy pieces like Dan Henry or Vario watches. And he brought me in contact with the owner of Vario, Ivan, from Singapore, and Ivan offered to send watches to Europe for a review. And then Cormac said, oh, you know what, I have two of your watches, I have several straps, I will send the package to Tim and he can do the review. Cormac, thank you very much for that. This was very easy for everybody, nice to handle, and so thank you very much. The watches are unharmed. I'm enjoying this piece on the wrist right now, but I think I will, no, I will return it, I promise. Next topic, Art Deco. I mean, we hear so much about certain eras and their design, Bauhaus, Art Nouveau, Art Deco. But what is Art Deco? We hear it all the time. How to spot Art Deco? And what I've learned about Art Deco is that it showed up, or it evolved first in France around World War I. And it was kind of a reaction to Art Nouveau. In Art Nouveau you find all those forms, those unregular forms borrowed from nature. And this is completely different with Art Deco. Although some elements are borrowed from nature, they are displayed, let's say, idealized. If you see there a bird or the sky or something else from nature is highly idealized without all the, let's say, all the nasty parts of it. And I think this is very charming because it gives Art Deco something clean. Something very clean, something very elegant, and plus it was easier to manufacture. I mean, a very, very easy fact here. And so it was highly suitable for industrialized products like cars, airplanes, or also buildings or furniture. If you think of furniture, the first furniture from factories. And if you want to train your eye, then I think it's the easiest way to go on Pinterest or Google image search, but I think Pinterest is a little bit better, and type in Art Deco and then what you are interested most. So Art Deco cars, Art Deco buildings, Art Deco interiors, or type in Art Deco train interior. Wow, wonderful, absolutely marvelous. And there you will see that you cannot say that from here it's Art Deco and until that, and then starts Art Nouveau or Classicism or Expressionism or another form. No, it's the limits between those styles are not clearly visible. And so if somebody wants to call something Art Deco and it's a little bit more Classicism, he still can do it. This is not rocket science, right? But if you have seen your couple of hundred Art Deco shots, buildings, cars, airplanes and everything, then I think you get it. You get the vibe that it's rather superficial but elegant, highly connected to fine materials, to technology, to speed sometimes. Because if you see that chromium line, then you have the impression of speed. And yeah, and then I saw this watch here and I thought, yep, there are the main elements of the style are really present here. And I think now it's the time to visit the Lightbox and to review the piece here in detail. But before we do this little announcement, I've recorded a jazz song which is in the after this video and which fits the style, I think, and the era. Very old song, very fast, and yeah, this was fun to record it. Okay, here we are with two Vario watches, or Vario, and this is the Empire collection or the Empire line, and especially the Seasons line. So we have some dial colors which represent the seasons. For example, this is winter, they call it the winter, and this here, the salmon dial, is autumn. Okay, let's go over the basics of these watches, over the measurements. We're looking at a case diameter of 38 millimeter. The length overall is 46. 11 is the height, so very slender watch as you can see, and the lug width is convenient 20. So if you ask me, the measurements are perfect. just perfect. And as you can see, we have a steel case. The sides here are brushed and the other surfaces are high polished. Focus, man, focus. We have a sapphire crystal here on top, sapphire crystal, and on the back there's a see-through case and a very distinctive onion crown, as you can see here. A beautiful onion crown, drilled black holes. And overall, I must say, a relatively spectacular look, especially the color of this dial. I mean, if you compare this with this one, this silver dial, this is a nice thing here, but I mean, compared to this watch here, this really has some, yeah, deep character, I would say. And so this is clearly my favorite in this review here. Inside, there is a Miyota, hand-wound Miyota movement. They also sell watches with automatic movements, then they use Seiko movements, but here you find a hand-wound Miyota in it with a typical look of this type of movement. I mean, people say Miyota is entry level, and yes it is, but it is a hand-winding movement, a mechanical movement. It feels absolutely buttery, so you can wind it without any effort. The crown here is comfortable. The overall feel of the entire watch is comfortable in a way. And if you operate it, you have a good feel. Everything works, the thing keeps time, and so overall, very beautiful look. Very beautiful look. If you compare this with other Casebacks from microbrands, this is a really well-made thing. And I especially like this onion crown type of thing. As mentioned, I really like the dial color, and especially together with this, as you can see, this sunburstish effect here. Look at this. Very nice, very nice. And you see here a typical Art Deco font with those subtle lines. You have kind of a sector dial, but not the usual way, because the lines here are on position 3, 9 and those here are not aligned with the 12 and the 6. So a design decision. And you have a microstructure in the inner, on the inner dial, as you can see here. Microstructure, very, very well made, very beautiful. Then you have some rings in the outer sector of the dial and minute indices. Everything very subtle, and yeah, you cannot see it from a distance, but if you're close to the watch, then you see it. Then we have those distinctive syringe hands. Let me pull this a little in another position that you can see it better, like that. Very classy, and they match, of course, the overall design concept. Some people say they don't like it because it looks like a syringe. Yeah, it does, but this is the point here, and you can find many examples from old vintage watches with those type of hands. Sometimes the spaces are filled with loom, but sometimes not. And what I like also is that you find those design elements, those Art Deco elements also on the case. I mean, it really looks like a building from that era, especially if you take in consideration here those lugs. Very distinctive, very beautiful, and at the same time subtle and relatively short. And those 46 millimeters in length will look really good on my wrist. I will show you this in a minute. The only thing I find arguable are those lug holes. I'm not sure if you need those lug holes on a dress watch, to be frank, but they sell a lot of straps, and I will show you a lot of straps in 2 minutes from that brand. And of course they want to make it easy to change them and to buy them in the first place. And what I also find not 100% good are those brushed surfaces here. I don't know. I prefer my dress watches entirely polished. But at the end, a matter of taste, and I know that many people really like when they have two different finishes on one watch case. And so, yeah, that's a matter of taste, I think. But overall, look here, very good. And now let's put it on the wrist, my favorite part in every review. 17 centimeters. This is my wrist, and now let me do this. This is always a little bit tricky because I'm not an octopus. I only have 2 arms, but there it is. There it is. And you see, relatively versatile color goes nice with this shirt here. And the overall look is very elegant and comfortable. Look at this, 11 millimeter in height. And so, very good thing. I mean, imagine this on a restaurant table, linen, cloth, dark suit. And it would look even better during the summer, because here you find now only little contrast between my complexion and the dial color. And I could imagine with a tan skin this would look awesome, absolutely awesome. And so, yeah, maybe I should break with the policy of the house and I should just keep the watch. I could return this one, and I could could keep the salmon dial. I think, Cormac, you will get over that loss. And no, I'm kidding. I will return it. And astonishing is the price of this watch. This watch retails at 300 euros, which are roughly, I think, 340 or 330 US dollars. And so a very affordable piece for everybody who likes the look. I really like this strap here. I like the color. This rich chocolate, and together with the contrast stitching. I'm not the biggest fan of a contrast stitching, I must say, but here it works. Here it really works. And you can feel that it's fine leather, smells good. The quality is flawless, so you cannot find here anything weird or anything sloppy. And of course, it fits the dial. This is a great combination here, wonderful combination, this strap and this watch. And of course they sell those straps separately, and they're relatively affordable. They cost, let me check my notes, 31 euros. So we are, I think, under 35 US dollars for such a strap. And so really, really nice package. Here you see the strap on the silver version, blue. Compared to this, a little bit weak, I must say. If I had seen this watch alone, maybe I would have said, wow, this is a good looking piece. But compared to this, and knowing that they are capable to produce something like that, I find this slightly inferior, guys, slightly inferior. And they deliver interesting strap options. If you want to wear Harris tweed on the wrist, then you can do it. There we are. There you have some Harris tweed straps. I have no idea. I didn't test them over a long period, and I have no idea if they last more than a couple of months or weeks or years. I have no idea. But of course the look is very special. Here this herringbone, and here you have this typical green you find also on art jackets, and here you have a gray version. I mean, my favorite here would be the herringbone. Does this fit? Yeah, it looks kind of funny. In a strange way, it fits. I think I have to get used to it, but yeah, pretty interesting look. And one word to the company here. Vario is located in Singapore. They have there this shop, and yeah, I think it's a very small brand. I don't know how old they are. I think a couple of years. And the owner Ivan wrote me months ago and offered me a watch for a review, and I just didn't, I think I've answered once, but then I've completely forgot it, and I'm very sorry. But the problem is, if you run a YouTube channel, then you are buried under emails. And sometimes I just forget to answer. And so very sorry, this doesn't represent my normal behavior, but sometimes it's impossible to answer to everybody. Okay, welcome back. Now we are at the end of this video. Cormac, thank you again very much for this nice gift here. No, I will send it back. Of course, I will send it back. And dear viewer, please visit the Radio Room on Instagram, and there you can see Cormac's work. Give him a thumb up, some encouragement, and so that he can proceed with his journey to become a real watchmaker. And if you want to see my modest attempts to create a custom-made Ushanka made of corduroy and Ford, then you can check out my Instagram page. It's Caseback_Tim. And now let me thank you very much for your attention, and maybe until next time.